creatives, community, and kind folks. Welcome back to RPG with DBJ. Hopefully, this isn't your first time because this is going to be a seat of the pants design and layout. So while I'm talking to you guys about one subject, I will be laying out the words and artwork and things like that, and getting feedback from you guys as to how we're going to do it. Now, I will say that I don't know what this is going to be about. Again, I'm a very seat of the pants kind of individual, and I like to get a lot of feedback from other people, be very interactive, and show you guys as I'm live designing this free tabletop role-playing game. It's going to be rules light, but I can see how many pages is going to be. So if it's going to be a lot of pages of various information, it should be visually interesting. Now, we do know that there's a high mark that comes about having a lot of this information, and that's Morkborg. If you're not very familiar with it, I can show some share some images, but essentially this is the role-playing game, one of the role-playing games. The other one is the Genesis. I think put a high benchmark as far as design and layout goes, and I'm trying to think of some there's some others, but I can't think of their names right now. But as a tabletop role-playing game, yeah, it definitely brain work on Monday. I feel you, because this game has so much. It's such a coffee table book that you can almost barely read it. So they had to come out with a free no artwork version of this book just to get people to understand it, because it's so bizarre. Now, I don't intend to go that far with it, but just if you just open up it's so bright. My camera is so if you even just open up the very first page, this is the front cover, and you can see how they have like random tables and a little bit of artwork. And this is what we're going to do live in terms of design and layout and that kind of thing, in terms of getting the words where they need to be. I mean, look at the font on that. That's crazy. All different sizes, and then you got the like small stuff at the bottom, and then you got a page of artwork on the other side and things like that. And it feels like every single page they must have used about 30 different fonts, all kinds of layouts. Some of it stretches over across the pages and things like that. It's crazy. So we're not going to go that far, but I would like to get some input. And yeah, I hear you, Drew. So I may have to get rid of my border here because it's a little bit on the wild side here. It kind of encroaches in on what we're trying to do here. And one of the difficulties in terms of sharing this kind of information is, how artistic do I want to get while we do these live streams? Do I want to go real like, let's see, do I want to do like character sheet kind of things, like mechanics, which is kind of boring? This is an example of our character sheet. Mind you, it's still in flux. I think there are places that I think could be erased so that we can have more space for writing information down. How much detail do we add into this? Do I get rid of this like artistic stuff on the side that gives it a little bit of that like high tech nature to it? That kind of thing. How large and small should the words be? What kind of fonts do you use? Do you mix and match fonts? Do you want all caps? Do we want caps and lowercase? I mean, sometimes it can get a little bit detailed. So one idea is to redesign the character sheet to make a starship character sheet. It's difficult to tell the difference between the character sheet above, which is for your player character right here, and a starship character sheet, which I was going to basically, it's an idea of changing some of the names, changing a lot of the words and the names and the phrasing, and then having space for other things that would be on starships that the player characters would share. Would you have, would there be fuel, hull, thrust, sensors, like those kind of things? So we can either do that, or something a little bit more interesting, other than the words, is uh, some of these one-page descriptors that are easy to share around, and people who don't know what's going on could take something like this and use it. And then, of course, I need a place to put it, which would be, it's pretty easy. I can just snatch this and send it out, but I would like to have a place to put it, which would be the Discord server, most likely, but something like that. So we can design something like this, like basically scratch, and where we would like to design it, like meaning what are we going to talk about? Are we going to talk about zippers and jackets? We would talk about the asteroid belt, or Jupiter, or a location, or maybe even some of the hard sci-fi aspects of living in space. Like one of the pages I can't wait to work on is having insects as a meal. It might turn some people's stomachs to have a whole bunch of maggots and roaches and stuff on the screen while we're designing it, but I would like to have some fun doing that. For example, this is I'm not satisfied with this, but this is my first gen image of what a 6-shooter looks like. And I wanted to make a one pager that was like, what the hell is a 6-shooter? Well, in modern parlance, a 6-shooter would be a revolver with 6 bullets in it. But in the slang in this far future Obsidian Star, it's 6 smaller spacecraft attached to a larger one that is able to move from planet to planet and take the smaller ships that are that can have enough fuel to move within the system, but not able to travel the days, weeks, and months it would take to go from one planetary system to another, even under constant acceleration. And so I was trying to find some smaller starships and bigger ones and attach them to the side, and that's as good as I got. I really want the main 6-shooter to be a rod, but I couldn't find one, and so I'm still playing with it. So yeah. Oh man. Deadman says I made a category for Obsidian Star in Discord. Perfect. Let me call that up, and maybe I can start depositing things there. Drew says, "Yay, that was something to see. DJ actually more active on the Discord." All right, so let's see if I can even get into the Discord. And let's see if it will let me. Come on. No, I just want to open it up. Let's see if we can get back in here. Yes, I am human. Oh, it's telling me I'm invalid. I can't do it live. Shit. can't do it live. Can't do it live. Sorry, I'm gonna have to jump through a bunch of hoops. So, let's take a vote. We can either lay out like something a little bit more artistic, like with a nice piece of artwork in the background and some minor words and phrases to describe something, which I think visually would be appealing. Like I think this needs to be rewritten. I don't know. I did this in about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Or something a little more intricate. Like this, I did this in about 5 minutes. I mean, it's pretty easy. Just you get a watermark in the background. I flipped it around so you got the darker parts, so the white lettering was against the darker parts. Right justified it, and that's it. And heck, I don't even think this is particularly well phrased, but for one pass, it's not bad. It's not bad. It disappears. The white disappears a little bit in the background, but not so much. This nebula back here, when it was pre-flipped, the white splotches in the background made the words disappear, and I thought left justifying it was like, nah, it's kind of boring, so I right justified it. Yeah, fail to capture 4 times because those Android. Yeah, I didn't want to have to go ahead and do that live. It wasn't letting me. Yeah, okay. So let's do something really simple here. let's talk about, let's make a page. There's Venus. That was going to be Earth, Terra. You guys saw me go through this. I'm thinking about with these one pages about the types of jackets that players can inhabit. To part of me was thinking about changing the coloring, because I use this. I took a format and then started to just keep that format. But what I'm thinking about is even changing some of the colors and such so that it fits a little bit better. But then again, if I change the color, I don't know. Ooh, what the heck? Oh, I see why I did that. Kind of covers up the artwork, but I don't know. Decisions. All right, we're going to use a simple. I mean, we're going to go to a simple system here. Let's see. Let's add an empty page. Empty page. Maybe we might do like armor and weaponry or something like that. So I'm not going to use any, and I've been considering not using any type of. While I did use some AI art, I'm thinking about removing it and coming up with my own artwork. And body armor. That's going to come up with some really odd medieval. We need futuristic, maybe something future. No. Imagery. Futuristic. Gonna have to use different types of wording to see if they can come up with some kinds of imagery. That doesn't look too bad. What do you guys think about that image? We can modify it. Looks like a robot though. It's hard to tell. Maybe I need the helmet off. Maybe we use that as an example. It's not bad. Then we can modify this a little bit, and then we'll throw some information in there. Big ass helmet isn't bad as well. What I'm looking for is a negative space. I'm looking for, if we're going to put words and things and descriptions, what my mind is going for is negative space. Negative space is like empty space. There's darkness around this image, and then there's darkness across the face of this helmet, where white lettering will show up pretty good. And then we've got white, very light imagery around the bottom and across the top, where black lettering could show up. And then I want to try to stay away from placing too much transparencies behind the letters so that we can see them. So we've got this image, but I really like this one because this one is kind of grayish all around. Here we got space helmets here. Kids and people in their helmets, spacesuits. This one's not too bad either, but that looks very mechanical. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of the. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this as the background, so to fill the entire page, and that way we can start writing things down on it, and just coming up maybe a couple of tables. I'll throw some words in here, get some text, and throw some tables in, and show you guys some like layout. And what will happen here is the reason for having something this dramatic in the background, and I can alter the imagery of this background. Like, for example, I can get this to become more of a traditional watermark where you can kind of barely see it in the background till it kind of disappears. You get down all the way down here, you can barely see it, but we can start to. I'm going to keep it ranked up as high as it can, and then we'll go from there. But I want to see what you guys have to say first, and then we'll get into it. Yeah, it looks like a bipedal humanoid. Gonna have trouble in 0G. Yeah. So I do have like information about like weapons and armor and things like that. Something very general. For example, there are like, I guess you could call them 0 point modifiers or modifications you can do to armor. So it's stuff that's free that you can pick for, say, a spacesuit or an armor. Things like a biomonitor or a comlink or like an emergency beacon or things like that. Maybe an external weapon mount or something like that. Personal safety airbags are another one. Of course, mag plates and boots, cable lines. This probably should be combined together. Glider wings, things like that. Reentry parachutes. So those things. I like the idea of the bubble system where you can turn your spacesuit into a bubble. Like it'll balloon out and expand so that you are dressed the way you were before you put the armor on, and then it just becomes a small bubble so you can work on maybe like a wound, or you have something inside the spacesuit that you need to get to, and then you could like kind of like blend your bubble next to somebody else's bubble, things like that. So let's get some text here, and yeah, let's throw in some text. So let's get a text box. Boom, boom, boom. Let's get a little bit large. And what should we write in here? We're going to do armor. Let's just do armor, and let's oops. Here we go. All right, so this word, let's see, shows up. I'm using Canva, of course, for those who don't know, and just added a text box, wrote a word in here, and using the Americanized version of armor. I know there's if I put a U in here, it does become a different thing, but I'm going to use the Americanized version of it. And let's go back here. So, of course, when it comes to fonts, you want something big and bold. There is an Obsidian, the font for Obsidian Star, and that is, I think it should be already up here, Adriana, and that's what it would look like. I'm not sure if I want to copy that through as headings throughout the thing, so I did pick something similar to it. It's still hard to read it though, but I think people will understand it. But sometimes when it comes to fonts, it's pretty interesting. Like you're like, oh, that looks cool, and then you start typing out other words, and you're like, that looks horrible. That looks pretty. So let's go with Montserrat Classic. That's pretty simple. Come on, there we go. Now, this looks pretty cool. Right now, it's very legible. You can see it. You know, it's right here in the borders. There's a pinkish, purplish border that comes up. Let me know where I can sit it to the very corner, so that if this ever gets printed out or someone needs to like chop the edges off, we still have something on the side. As I start to put in, let me put another text box in here, and move it somewhere. Maybe I might have to like put something behind it so you can actually see it. So let me copy and paste. Let's copy and paste this here. Let's get some words here. Let's copy this up, and I'm pulling this from a document. Oops, no. Come on, there we go. Paste. See if this works. All right, there we go. So here we do. We've got ourselves a list here, but it you know, how do we justify it? How do we move it around? These are some of the free armor modifications, and I can take this, I can split it in half, I can crush it down. You know, tiny, huge, stretched out, even. It probably needs to be justified. You can see as I'm crushing it down and moving it and things like that. And let's go with a right justification for right now. And you can't really see it, so we need something behind it. So I'm going to search for a square. I've done this plenty of times before. I need a, oops, under elements. Boom, 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 boom. Square. Is it? There we go. Let's throw a shape up in here. And with this square, it looks ugly. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the color of it and probably change it to black, solid black. And oops, we can move it right behind this. But the other cool thing about the square, if it's right there, like you can actually start typing text in the middle of it and then change the size and shape of it if I wanted to do that as well. So matter of fact, let me see something here. Will it let me paste? Oh, it will let me paste. All right, let's get rid of this. Delete this out. Let's move this over here. And let's see. Let's rank down the transparency a little bit. Let's go to, usually like to go to 50. Still not satisfied with it, but we can bold it. We can take the text in here and oh, is it? Man, that looks dark. I wonder what's going on with it. Text color, oh, it is white. Yeah, we may have to do it the different way. Comic. I guess not. Let's undo this. What did I just do? Let's see what you guys have to say. Yeah, I've come here to use my bubble and kick ass, but I'm all out of bubbles. Eats the bugs. Oh, oh, you want to do that? Oh, we can do that. If you want me to be sick, we can go ahead. We can go ahead with the bugs. I don't know how many people would even particularly like that. But yeah, we could do all the bugs and things of that nature. Let me get this a little bit bigger here. Yeah, see, it looks very odd. Let's see if we can bold this up because you can barely see it. There we go. Ah, but it's still dark, and I think it's because of the. Is it the? Oh, wait a minute. I don't want to change that. I want to change this, and the transparency is just. Wow. Maybe we don't want it that far. Yeah, we'll do it like this. All right. Let me reword some of this as well so that it kind of like when it comes to layout and things like that, sometimes what ends up happening and what ends up happening is that you get like a really short word like the word disposable or glider wings or biomonitor or something like that, and you get longer phrases, and then it's like, do we want to keep the longer phrases or shorter phrases, right? So we might want to get rid of like personal airbags and just put airbags or emergency airbags or something. Let's see. Keep it shorter. External weapon and gear mount. Let's see. Let's shorten this up. External item. Tool. That kind of fits in there. All right. Let's shorten this up here. Let's grab you from the bottom here. Come on. What's happening? Won't let me. There we go. There we go. All right. So this is just an example. Move this around a little bit. Oh, I know what I need to do. I need to categorize it. So you can move it here, move it up there, move it off to the side. But we'll leave it up right here simply because it seems like the kind of thing that we would see very often. And then right below this, let's see, get rid of the, let's see. Let's put a mods parentheses, maybe a hard parenthesis, 0 points. And then put a hard one right there, stretch the cell a little bit, change the, what size is this? 27.7. Let's move you up to even number. Let's move you to 28. And then we're going to take this one, lower it down. Let's put you at 21. All right. Right justifier. Move you over a little bit. Move you down on top. Yeah, it's not bad. A little boring, but not bad. And then what we can do is start adding other things to this. So we can start saying like what types of armor there are, maybe even add some rules in, and go with some of the different mechanism. And what will happen is this image will start to fade into the background a little bit, so that what will happen is we'll have all of our like maybe game statistics or things like that on the front of it, and then put things on the back of it. We can even add in like let's see, let's go with some uploads here. There we go. Let's add this over here. This is the Obsidian Star logo, and the Obsidian Star logo is basically like it's the multiple star planet thing that I've incorporated. I've made this logo with like red and black and white on black, and things like that. I'm gonna add this down here, float it down there, just as a reminder of which game this is, and hopefully that will become a visual identifier. If someone sees this and goes, "Where'd that come from? Who put that there? Where, who is this part of a game or something?" And then somebody will recognize that. I could also just take the, oops, that's not what I meant to do. Let's go to the actual Obsidian Star logo that I uploaded. There's all this AI art that I produced for various, I don't know, just experimenting with prompts and things like that, trying to save some of the artwork, and then get some other ones that were attached to it. Some of it's good, some of it's bad, but it automatically uploads everything that we want. So, oh, that's another one I can do. You know what? Let me do this. Let's do this right now. Little cutie cutes. Here we go. And which one's the better one? That's up to you. You tell me. Let's see. Which one is the better image that we're going to use for our background image here. So is it number 1, top left? We're going to go in a circle. Start at the top left. Number 1, number 2, and number 3, without the outfit on. You guys decide about that, but I'm gonna keep searching for something here. There we go with the uploads. All right, let's see. Where it's down here? It won't let me do this. Expand this out too much more. I wish I could reorganize this. I know. Yes. A lot of artwork. Blah 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 blah. Come on. It's way at the bottom here because that designer. There we go. Sheesh. Let's see. Do I want that one? I like this one. Okay. We're going to move this up. Sorry. Leave you right there. There we go. Throw you up in here. Cut you off on the edges. Shrink you down a little bit. Give you a little bit more space. So when this image, like I could also just like drop this in the top here, maybe top, and it's a little too big. Throw it down at the bottom. Maybe that would be better. Shrink it down quite a bit. That looks a little bit odd. Come on, justify. There it is. Bam. Yeah, we'll leave it like that. So let's move back down to here. See what you guys think. Shai says tough call, top right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Hmm. Hmm. I would go with. I guess I would go with top right because that's where the eye's going to go. Um, I'll leave it there as such. And even this thing, I can kind of like I can. Usually, what I do is if I something I want to use, one of my tricks is sometimes I'll put like 5 different things I want to use, and I kind of stick it off to the side like this. Um, So here we got like, so this is an example. I want to give an identifier on it. So I might pick like Obsidian Star or something. I can even put some flair behind this a little bit, like maybe something lighter, kind of make it stick out or whatnot. Or this is another strange thing that the human mind does. We actually can't, let me make this a whole lot bigger. It's difficult to actually read Obsidian Star, right? If we look at this logically, this this font isn't exactly as clear as we would like it to be. But our brain puts things together so that we can read this to make this obsid. Because the B and the D really can't be read. But what happens is our brain puts it together and we go, oh, I guess that's what it does say. So that's not a big deal, right? But what happens is if we use this font too often, our brains will keep trying to, we don't want that struggle to happen in the brain too often. We want someone to glance at it and go, does that say Obsidian Star? And then their brain goes, oh, it does say that, you know, that kind of thing. So we want the brain to be actuated, but we don't want the brain to be confused. Now, what I could do is take all this, shove it down, move it out the way, move this here, maybe throw this over here, maybe throw it. Yeah, did it justify? Yep, throw it over here, or I could actually throw it way outside and give it a little bit more space, so I could throw it outside the thing. Unfortunately, what would happen is if this picture ever needs to be cropped on a particular like social media, this might get lost. That's why they have this this border right here. But I could do that. Throw this up here. Maybe even I could justify it and leave it at this, or throw it over into the corner a little bit more, or resize it, something like that. All right. Let's get some more words up in here so we kind of know where we're going. So we have this. Let's see if I can. Will this let me make it bigger? It will. All right. I could throw this in here. Throw this in here. Maybe get rid of the word 0 and put the number 0. The number, you know what I mean. Put that in here. Expand this out. Let's see if we can. Come on, justify over. There it is. There we go. All right. Looks a little bit better. Let's see. Oops. I don't like this area on the bottom here. Oh, because I shot it up. All right, we might have to get another square. All right, kick it back out. You live and learn. You live and learn. So let's shrink this back down. Move this around. We'll get another square. Throw this in here. Change the color. Boom, boom, boom. Throw it behind our words. There we go. Transparency down to 75, like the other one. So they kind of have to memorize where it's at. Yeah, it's going to start blocking a lot of this. I'm ranking the transparency down to 50. 35. And I still don't like it. Live and learn. Get rid of it. Now it gave me a purple one. Throw you up here. Stretch you out a little bit. Get you down to 35. Then we're going to, I'm gonna just snatch a text box. Snatch up a text box and no, we don't want square texts. I'm just going to add a text box. And paste. There we go. Move you over top of this. Sorry, but this is what happens when you start doing like when you start doing manipulation of these things, right? It's like what works, what doesn't work, what moves, what, you know, I don't know. There we go. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Then once I figure out like what kind of looks good, what is it that like does it look good? Does it all right? Does it fit to the standard that I want? Then I can start copying and pasting this. Then I can start like the cheat code. The cheat code on this kind of thing is like once I kind of figure out where I want to go, then I can stop moving around. Let me select what I want. There we go. So once I get my cheat code down and I go, oh, this is kind of what I want it to look like and where I want it to hit, then I can start like making copies and moving things around. So what I'll do is I'll make a copy of this. I'm gonna throw it on this side of the document, change its size and order, and then go out and find ourselves some more information, like what kind of technology. We'll copy all this and put the technology in there. Let's copy here. I got some words, and let's go get ourselves a text box. I can go find other text types, right? Like I can pick ones that they have pre-printed or selected and such. But what I tend to like to do is just pick my own, just so that, and let's paste here. Just so that I have as many options as I want. You can tell that this one is a lot more. There's a lot more words in here, so we're going to go here. Let's write justify it. Okay, let's write justify it. There we go. And it looks like I have. Yeah, I got to stretch it out big time. Stretch it out to the side. Is that readable? Doesn't look readable to me. The 1, 2, 3 going off to the side. No. Got to bring it back to the left. There we go. Bring it back to the left, and then we'll move it around. Let's see what you guys have to say here. Let's talk about some other stuff. So one part of what I'm working on here with the armor and things of that nature is that instead of having, while I understand that there are players that love to go shopping, and there are some players that like that's kind of like their whole their I guess you could call like it's like their desire to like, you know, build and move their modify their characters in such a way, and they like to go on shopping sprees. The problem with going on shopping sprees is it's dare I say, it's a little masturbatory. It's good for you, but everyone else sitting at the table is just sitting back like, could we calm down with all that this kind of stuff? So you can see right here with this layout, like with these words, I'm going to have to crush this down a little bit. So let's, just so that I can hit here. Let's crush this down. Lowers and what do you call of firearms? No. Something that fires a solid object. That's good enough. Storm Trek is electromagnetic. I did put a period at the end of these. They kind of don't need it. I guess I could go through and delete it. Self-explanatory. So using these are our different technological types, and sorry, not only are these our different technological types, these are also the damage types and the ability to put in defensive measures in armor to protect against those damage types. So dare I say the game that should not be mentioned, 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, there are different types of damage types, like whether it's acid or lightning or cold or fire. The same goes here. Razor tech or X-rays and gamma rays, chemtechs, chemicals, thermal damage from pyro and cryotechnology. Although I think I'm going to change out cyber tech, and because it's not technically its own thing for damage types, but so you know what? Fuck it, I'll do it right now. And keep it. Let's see. Absolute 0, 0, and 0. Boop, 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 boop. Go ahead and change this. Plasma and heat. There we go. Slug throwers. Yeah, did I do that? Oh yeah, I already got it in here. Yeah. It's saying it's. I like how Canva doesn't understand about science fiction, so sometimes I have to like. Sometimes I will or won't modify the words. Are they saying radio waves? Is that a separate radio and waves are separate words? I didn't know that. There we go. Capitalizing. Sometimes when it comes to like descriptions and writing and science fiction and tabletop role-playing games, we can get to the point where we start mixing and matching caps and all caps and no caps, and do you end something with a period that's on the table or not, and things like that. It's a little bit funky, but yeah. So what? Let me add another one here. So I need to add a title to this. No. Come on, move for me, please. I'm going to add something here. I'm going to move this down a little bit. Move this down here, and let's see. Bring that over here. We're going to do defensive modifications. Defensive cost 1 point. There we go. What size font did I? Oh, 21. That's right. I did pick 21. think I made it bold. I'll go over here, go to 21. Oops, I put an exclamation point. Well, yeah, it would be an exclamation point. All right, so kind of see what this looks like right here. Let's make a copy of this, drag it down here. Mm-mm, mm-mm. There we go. Let's put this send backwards. There we go. So now you can actually see it. I might increase the font on that one and that one, but you guys get the point. I move things around, get things here, try to as best as I can, as best as I can, try to make things look a little bit good. Then what I'll end up doing is stepping away from it and go, does that look all right? Does it look all right? And then I'm looking at this person in the armor, and now I'm going, it looks like it's across his waist. And do I want to move this around? So maybe an option is to move this over here, move all of this over to this side of the document kind of thing, and see what the layout looks like. Look at it and go, I don't know. And then I can actually maybe I can add something like this on the side and kind of do that. And then maybe add something over here, maybe some word like, I can add some descriptor or what we call like fluffy words, like some fluffy bullshit, like a go snatch something from like a novel or a song, or write in some background information and kind of throw it up in here and put it here, and that might be kind of cool as well. Yeah. So let's see what you guys have to say. There you go. Capitalize like. Thank you very much for seeing that. Shit. Perfect. Let's see. There it is. And you know what? When it comes to this is a little more detailed in a little bit, guys. But when reading or looking at a document, let's say there's 150 pages, going through and reading it, because the human brain will see it. If I take a look at it, I'll overlook a ton of this stuff. And the reason why I'll overlook it is because I've seen it so many times that in my head, I'm like, oh, it's correct. But really what's happening, that's why you need an editor. And an editor, a good editor will make two passes. The first pass will just be simply spelling, grammar, and things of that nature, misplacing of words, of repeating of certain types of words or phrases, although correct might seem a little repetitive. And then a good editor will then go back through it and do things like, do I erase all the periods off of this table? Maybe there will be no periods at the end of anything on a table, but there will be periods on the end of like natural language spoken, like a I don't know, quote or something like that. Like I'm gonna go ahead and look for a quote, and I'm gonna find quotes about futuristic body armor. I don't know if anything like that's going to show up, but let's see, quotes about remember, body armor is your friend. Body armor, 4,000 pounds of body armor and missile proof glass. Nice. What had happened to good old fashioned bulletproof? Yeah, this could come from video games. This could come, like, I could, you could do something like that. Maybe like a military website or something. Put on some armor. Just remember what's armor and what's you. So when it's time to take it off, you can. That's a pretty cool. That's a nice little quote. Armor yourself in it, and it will never be used against you. Or armor is heavy, yet it is a proud burden, and a man standeth straight in it. That sounds more religious, but yep. There is no armor against fate. That's a good one. Yeah, a lot of these, yeah. The best armor is to keep out of range. I like that. Mm-mm-mm. Danger alone acquaints us with our own resources, our virtues, our armor and weapons, our spirit, and forces us to be strong. Friedrich Nietzsche. Ugh. Actually, I kind of like that. Ugh. Oof. I kind of, yeah. I think I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. This is horrible. I love it. Let's copy this. All right, let's go back to the design. Oh man. Let's get ourselves a text box. It always at the bottom. Let's move you up just I have it increased so much. Paste. There we go. Because some would say this person is a little bit problematic, a little bit. So yeah. There we go. Let's pick one of these, copy it, throw it up behind this, and actually right now it's sitting in front of it, and then I might layer behind, send backwards. There we go. Let's go with, we do want a different we want a different font for this. Something, we don't want to go too far away. We want something like handwritten. All right. Handwriting? There we go. All right, let's pick you. 3, 2, 1, finger paint. We're gonna do that. That's horrible. That's absolutely horrible. Sire. Yeah, because then you kind of have, maybe somebody will look at it and go like, does that say what I think it says? No, this is a little bit easier to no, I don't want to edit the link. I want to get rid of it. There we go. Anyway, so again, this is an example. Let me move this. Let's move this down into the chest area. So the reason why I decided to pick that, not because I believe in something like that. The reason I wanted to pick it is because we have some negative space. Negative space, a big empty spot of nothingness. What I can do is I can shrink this down a little bit and kind of, there we go, kind of do that to it. And then throw it up here in the corner. Let's get rid of, you want to delete that? Nope, I'm going to bring it back. I want to delete the link. There we go. There we are. All right. There we go. So this is within an hour. This is like a preliminary, like I don't know, I'd probably shrink this down a little bit just to kind of get it out the way, or maybe even move it. It doesn't even have to be in a corner. It could be like under here maybe, or like off to the side or something like that. just to give it, just to ensure that it's there. So this is an example of me doing a one pager. Let me get to see what you guys have to say. This is an example of like doing one pager. There is no armor against fate, and its name is the spiral. Yeah. There you go. Slow clap there. Yeah. I'm going to get into the Discord when I get off of here. It's been so long. My credentials have been timed out and such. I used to keep the audio on in the Discord. Actually, I used to do the visuals actually in the Discord as well. But that was before I upgraded my internet. So maybe I can do it, since I am broadcasting on two functions. I can do three. Some other little flourishes I can do in here are I can start to gather, like I could splatter this a little bit with something, or put some high-tech imagery behind it. Like what's a good example that I mean? Elements. Okay, so I'm going to look up futuristic borders. Oops, I misspelled futuristic. Let's go get some graphics. Or maybe future isn't a good word. Maybe it's science. I'll put the word tech in here to look for some borders. Okay, so sometimes we might want to add flourishes to a piece of artwork or imagery or something that we have. So, for example, I could even crush these words in even more, and I could add in some kind of border here. So, where did it put it? There it goes. So I could add in, do it into the middle of the document. So you can't see it, but what I can do is change the color of it. I turn it to white. There it goes. So if I turn it to white, this is what it looks like, where I can add in other flourishes. So for example, borders on the document, I can add in something like this. It's kind of like tech, pseudo technical kind of thing. I'm gonna delete it out of here. But those are examples of like different ways we can add flourishes to, say, a blank sheet of paper or something like that. Here's another example I can throw into a corner, flip it around. Here's another example I could throw into a corner, change the color of it, maybe make it white or black or blue or something like that. And so that the document feels a little bit busy, a little bit like it feels in there. And actually, what I could do is pick like 1, 2, or 3 of these types of flourishes, and then throw them into the corners so that each page feels like it's attached to the next page afterwards. For example, some people will do this for chapters. So instead of chapter headings, they'll pick a color, like on the right side of this page. If you've ever seen a book, sometimes you'll see like blue and green and yellow and orange and red down the side of the page that you can visually see. So oh, blue is for combat, red is for magic, that kind of thing. And when you flip to the page in that chapter, by seeing these little flourishes, like I can copy one of these, maybe send it down to the bottom, flip it around, toss it into a corner, and maybe that becomes an identifier, like, oh, okay, I get that, because that should be, I know where I'm at and what I'm looking at, and then get rid of all this, see what it looks like, see if it has any kind of whether it looks good, whether it feels good. And sometimes you don't need to actually make a border around the entire image. Sometimes just 1 or 2 of these in the corners give it a sense of, I want to call it a grounding sense, like it is being framed like in a picture or digital imagery. That actually doesn't look too bad. And I did it by randomly, but yeah. So those are some of the reasons why we might want to do that. You know what? My brain is taking a look at some. Nah. No. Okay. I'm not gonna. I was gonna turn this square this out a little bit, but I don't know. I like where it's at. Let's see what you guys have to say. I know you guys are like, I don't know what to add to this conversation. So one of the since we are at the end of the show, I will try to describe this a little bit. So let's go right here. So armor in Obsidian Star. So armor just comes in 3 categories: light, medium, and heavy, which I probably should add into this this image right here. So the matter of fact, I'm going to do that right now. So let's see which one. Let's see. I want to copy this. There we go. Copy this over here. Light, medium, heavy. Light armor, 1 point of reduction. Medium armor, of course, is 2 points. And then heavy armor, of course, is, guess what? 3 points of reduction. And in addition to that, let's get this here. Let's make a copy of it. Let's throw you over here somewhere. Let's put you in front of it. And then let's throw you behind because you're sitting in front of the words. There we go. So whenever you add on, come on, there it is, the center. So whenever you add on a defensive measure, that defensive measure doubles your armor. So if you're wearing light armor and you have a defense against storm tech or razor tech, it doubles it. So it's 2 points. Medium, it'll be 4 points. Heavy, it'll be 6 points. How many modifications can you add to your armor? 1, 2, or 3. So all of it will just be very simple to look at. Hey, I'm wearing heavy armor. I've got 3 points protection. I've got defense against radiation that gives me 6 points because it just doubles. And how many modifications can I add to my armor? Maximum of 3. You've got 3 spaces. So you can add three of those things in there. A little too close. The zero mods. Zero mods are basically just very common things that are so common that, come on, why is it not centered? There we go. I must have moved it. So common that pretty much damn near everybody has this in their armor, and most of it. Now, when we begin the game, I have a feeling that I'll let players pick one, and then characters that are as we start to focus our characters into who and what they are. Excuse me, like like a character with that is like a body armor character, like it's based around like power armor or something. They'll probably be able to pick more than one of these, or like many character creation systems, at the end of character creation, you can go back and like pick freebies, and these are probably just going to be freebies. There's nothing wrong if a character has more than one of these, but we do want to make, it's a game, so we want characters to like discover more things or add more things or have something to that they want to get later. So, or if they uncover something like, hey, that's a spacesuit, I'm going to steal their spacesuit, then it may have something they want or may have something they don't want, and then they can go on and modify it from there on. So down here for the defensive modifications, this just costs a point. It takes up 1 space. Although maybe I should, instead of saying 1 point, I should say 1 space, or 1 point / space maybe. But these are the different types of technologies. X-rays, so this is Razor Tech is for rays, chems for chemicals, pyro for heat, neural, which is mental. I was thinking of actually combining that with the storm tech, but I'm not sure yet. Biotechnology, laser tech, laser and light. I was thinking about calling Luma Tech or Lux Tech, maybe even. Photonics, optotech, which would be like photons. Photon tech is it doesn't have good mouthfeel. Blast tech are all wave energy, radio waves, microwaves. Vox tech is all sound. Kinetotech is all physical objects that are given acceleration. Things like bullets, needles, chemicals, solid objects given physical force, explosives, things like that. Cryotech is cold. Nanotech, of course, you know what that is. Nanobots and nanomachines. And then lastly, storm tech is electromagnetic energy. Things like, electromagnetic pulse, ball lightning, things like that. So, yep. And here we have an example of a very simple one pager. I feel like and let's go back to this this little quote I put up here, which we could actually carve this out, meaning with different colors. For example, I could make the maybe this, here we go. And period there. All right. Let's draw here. Let's see what this looks like if I change the. There we go. Woo. I don't want to do that. I want to change. I'm going to change the color to black. And then I'm going to change the square in the background to white. Yeah, it's all right. Danger alone acquaints us with our own resources, our virtues, our armor and weapons, our spirit, and forces us to be strong. It sounds like a good. It sounds like a that doesn't sound too bad. And then you're like, who said that? I love things like that. So maybe I'll keep it around. Maybe who knows? Yes, slot, not space or point. Ooh. Yeah. I agree with that. Using the word slot is probably better. And then we'll put I can fix all the rest of this. One slot. There we go. So, for example, if someone wanted armor and they wanted it, if they've got heavy armor, they could have like pyrotech, like laser tech, which is actually going to be called reflect, because there's each one of these has a 12 like what you can print out with your blueprints. So heavy armor could pick 3 of these as a defensive mechanism. So, for example, heavy armor might be used in a hostile environment, like, I don't know, being put on a cable and pushed down into the gaseous atmosphere of Venus, right? So if you're going to do that, you're going to need like, oh shit, well, we need pyrotech from the heat and chemtech from the sulfuric acid, and then something for like pressure, which will probably be kinetotech. It'll sit right in there for against like high intensity pressure. Kinetic pressure and tension would be under that. It'll be written down anyway. So that might be a possibility. Or maybe someone's like a space marine in heavy armor, and they're like, I want protection against electromagnetic pulses from storm tech, because they're going to be dropping pocket nukes or something. And I also want like blast tech against like microwaves and high intensity radio waves, so I can send out my comm links aren't frazzled or something. And I also want protection against biotech, because there's like biotech swarms or infestation or something like that. Now once the armor is set, you really can't change it unless you take it to a place where you can get it modified. But it's just an example of each one of these taking up a slot. So you have 1, 2, or 3 slots, and that do it. I was going to do it by body part, like a head slot, chest slot, 2 arm slots, but I'm reserving that for the people who are cybrids. They're cybernetic, and they can put tools and things like that into their parts in their body. Because I don't want this to break down into a game of who's got the heaviest armor. I want armor to be a feature, not a requirement, because we're going to have like a lot of like social interactions and things like that as well. And I want that to be just as bold and powerful. Too distracted to pay attention today. Going to have to review your artwork tonight. You're fine. Shai says, "Oh man, 2 passes is something I ran out of time for on the last 2 within the Ring of Fire books." Yeah, it's rough doing passes over your own things, because you have to erase your mind of what you've written and be hypercritical of then what you've written. Yeah, Deadman says Rob Boyle or Posthuman Studios tried to design several books for Eclipse Phase 2nd edition live like this on Twitch. He had very few viewers per editing stream. Yeah, editing is horrible. even me doing the layout, I'm in my mind, I'm going like, no, I'm going to have to talk about other things. So probably what I'll do is I will continue to live design things, but the words out of my mouth may not match what you're seeing on screen, so that at least if you're listening in, you're getting something out of it, so you don't have to have your eyes focused on like, why is this dude doing this thing? I told you it would be crazy, because I said, I don't know if this is going to work out right. But I am a seat of the pants kind of individual, so I kind of like what I'm seeing here. It probably needs to be smoothed out. It's a little bit too hard-edged to me, and a little too clean, but I do like it. I do like it. I like it a lot. So yeah, and this is just where my mind goes when I come with these little artistic things. And also, one of the great things about doing this kind of layout, despite the fact that some people might say it's a little bit distracting, it's like, I just want the words. I don't need the artwork. The problem is, let's agree that art is an easy identifier. When you see it, you know it. And if it also allows us to easily go back to something we've missed. So if there's a big giant person, if there's a big image of a person in armor, and I really don't know what it could be, a robot, it doesn't matter. You're going to easily know, oh, this is the armor. This is the section on armor that I need, right? When we flip pages in our tabletop role-playing books, despite some people saying we don't need words at all, instead of having to, thumb the pages, we just know, oh, there's an art, there's a piece of weaponry, there's an animal, there's a robot, there's a vehicle. We know what we're looking at, and so we can easily go back to it, and let's go, oh, here's the armor part, that's what I needed, and then flip, go down. There it is. It's carved out. That's what I needed. Oh, laser tech. That's right. That's going to be my third option for my heavy armor. So, yeah, it seems, I don't know, it does seem a little bit hard edged. There's ways to dirty it up. Like, for example, let's do something like I'm gonna look up paint splatter, and we'll go to. There's different types. There's like photographs, there's graphics and things like that. And sometimes you can take these little paint splatters and like put blood on it, something like that, or use these as a watermark on top of the artwork in the background to like dirty it up a little bit. Like, boom, there's a look at this. This is like a paint splat, paint / blood splatter. And here, you know what? Let's see if we can show you an example of this. So let's get this out the way. Shrink this down just a little bit so I can move it, and then throw it in the corner, and then increase the size of it just slightly, and roll down. So here we have a paint splatter. Now what I can do with this, of course, is layer it backwards. So like I can change the transparency of it, so it's a little bit more transparent, rank it up to where it needs to be. I can change the color and make it maybe a little bit more vibrant, so it does look like a paint splatter. I can get it very big if I want it to, and sometimes in very artistic layouts, they'll do this, like heavily across the page. This works a lot more in fantasy, but these are examples. Mind you, of course, we don't need to keep that here. but like instead of like a blood splatter, it might be like a burn or rust or circuitry or something like that to get the get the page a little bit dirty and smudge away some of the like negative space down here. And also it can draw the eye. So the eye sees the armor and the individual up front, and then it draws down into blood splatter. And you're like, what do these two have to do with each other? Right. Things like that. And sometimes people will pick like warning signs or whatever. It might be alien language or whatever. And things like that. So that's another way to dirty up an image. Yeah, Drew says, I think it's a robot. I'm not going to argue with you that, but looks neat. Yep. Rehearsal time. Got to check out. Okay. Well, well, have fun. Dream Eon's Voyage says that's going beautifully. And by the way, I hope Sir the cat is good too. He should be great for Zoom. It's a cat anyway. Yes, in the background. Yes, there's a cat. Yes. But well, by the way, thank you very much for the compliment. But even in my own head, I'm going, I don't know if this looks right. But there is, like I said, there are ways to dirty up images and to get the eye to roam around what you are setting up. Like, for example, the reason why I put that blood splatter here, not only is there negative space, meaning, let's see if I move this out the way a little bit. Not only is there negative space, meaning there's nothing there, there's just a hand, but also if you put something here and make it cross diagonally, it splits the tables that I have here in half. So you have one table to the upper left, one table to the lower right, one table to the upper right, and then there's nothing in the fourth corner. But if I take this blood splatter and stretch it up in here, it divides two and points to a third one, right? The mind's eye. And so sometimes you got to think about that. I haven't really talked about the using imagery to point someone's eye to something, but it could split two basically boring, I don't know, tables and point to a third one when someone goes to this page. Now, let's see. We can get rid of the blood splatter, and let me see if I can find. I'm gonna look up Rust and see if we can find some Rust graphics. Ooh. Rust graphics. Let's see if we can place this layer, send to back, and then can we? No, that's not working. Okay, so we could do this and stretch it into the corners, and let's see if we can, just before we get out of here, stretch the Rust. So doesn't look too good. Let's flip you around. Maybe a little, maybe I dirtied it up a little bit too much. But you know, get rid of the nice smooth robot imagery here, something like that. Maybe have, you know, kick these things off the corners, get rid of those. Move the tables around a little bit to crush them in a little bit. So this is one example. Mind you, like I said, this is all experimental. So, you know, adding rust to the image, scarring and rusting and things like that is a possibility. Come on. No, I didn't get to the very edges of the image. But those are other ways to get it to look a little dirty. Scarring, you know, like when I was thought of rust, I guess I was thinking of like blaster scars or something like that, like, because the robot looks a little bit too, or robot humanoid thing looks a little bit too clean. But those are examples of messing around with an image to get it to where you want it to. And I bet if I give this another hour or two, I could probably get it to where I want. Let's get rid of that. let's see. And there's all different kinds. Like I looked up Rust in here, and there's a whole bunch of other ones. Uh, Something I could do is just get a small image um, off on the side, maybe move this around, keep this here, and maybe do something where, no, not like that. We want to do it like this, maybe. Um, Maybe get some imagery or some things, throw them in the corners to relate us to, oh, this isn't as clean a sci-fi setting as I thought it was. And, change some of the, I could get the transparency down. I could change, like I could put a border around it. And these are just examples. That's just a small example of something to mess around with the image, just to keep people aligned into what's going on. Maybe because it's Obsidian Star, maybe do like an orbital pattern down in here, like let's see, solar system, and find ourselves a graphic and snatch that graphic. I wish I could take some of these animated graphics, but it doesn't really work that way. But I could take like a graphic like that and throw it down in here. It's pretty colorful. Uh, but those are examples. You know what? Something like that might work. Change the color of it to white. Maybe change the angle of it. Yeah, it's fine. 0 degrees. There we go. Something like that. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. See what it looks like. See if it catches the eye, if it should be there or not. My brain's starting to think that maybe it actually looks better with nothing there, but anyway. So yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for being part of the show. A little bit boring. So what I'm going to do, we're going to continue this, but I'm not going to do it in the same manner. I like to learn from my mistakes. So what I will do is I will talk about more aspects of the game that are basically going to be unrelated to what I'm doing on screen, and then that way is a little bit more has more audio interest while I play with things in the background. And yes, what you see on the screen more or less will be what's going to go into the game. I mean, this is a giant document, and the document's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger as we add more and more to it. At these one pages are going to be more like for fluff, some mechanics in it. The difficulty I'm going to have as I move to some of these other things here is taking things like a lot of words and laying it out so that it is decipherable and easier to read. All this, like, it's legible but not quite. And then we'll get in. Maybe we'll do something a little bit more a bit easier, because it's just going to be changing words, and do a Obsidian Star starship character sheet. Wow, my brain is not working. We may get rid of all these things like the bricks and orbits and things like that. Maybe we might recontextualize them as well. I could see a starship having a data core inserted into it to allow it to, go through its own warp hole or faster than light travel or something like that once, breaking the game, as it were. Maybe get rid of this thing on the side here. Of course, changing all this around. So yeah, we'll do that kind of thing. So guys, thank you very much for being part of the show. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for having what limited interest there is in science fiction role-playing games. It is kind of like the unfortunate mistreated stepchild over in the corner. But yeah, this is Obsidian Star. We're working on it. We'll get it along, and we'll make these live layout streams better for all you guys. So, guys, thank you very much for being part of the show. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Have a great day. I'll see thee later. Peace and tranquility.